Hi everyone, good morning. And I thought this would be better delivered through a video instead of me doing my usual post announcements. So we have crossed, well, almost the halfway point of the class, and just want to give you a preview as to what you'll be expecting over the next coming weeks. So, as of this week, we are exploring schemas, and we are getting into schemas, and from then we go into the XSL family of specifications, and we're going to sort of eventually wrap up with that, and that would primarily be the foundation of the class. Then, as a sort of a bonus, we get specifically into databases and understanding the the uh, the the relationship between XML and databases. But that is not a requirement for the final project. And so this is also one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, is to sort of tell you a little bit of a final project. So later on this week, by the end of this week, you should be seeing more, post all the assignments and all the description of what is required for the final project. What I have done so far is I have placed you in groups. And so there are 3 groups, and there are 4 people per group. So I would suggest that this week you work together with your group members, reach out to your group members. I don't dictate how that is done. I know everyone has their preferences on how to communicate. Note that we do have Adobe Connect. Some people just use Skype. Some people use different tools out there. There's just so many, and I leave that decision up to you. What you will also be seeing today, well, this week, I should say, with respect to groups, is that you will have a group case study to address. This is visible on the discussion board, and this is a sort of an icebreaker for you to reach out to your group members and just test the waters on what are people's views, how people work, and just set that team dynamics. That is sort of your introductory group assignment. And as I said, I'm going to provide more about the final project, and again, we're going to have more discussions as the semester goes on about that. Just to say that when it comes to the final project, there's not going to be a group project. Part of the grade will be assigned by your peers. So just because you have done a simply marvelous, perfect project, and only 2 members of the team have actually contributed, note that that would be reflected on the other team members who did not participate as they should, and that would come through from your assessment of your team members. The other thing you'll be seeing this week is a mid-semester participation grade, and that sort of unfolds all the responses, the required responses that you have done over the past 6 weeks. And one of the reasons that I do it as combined like this is, I've noted, sometimes not everyone is able to participate at the same level. And I've noted that in previous classes where previous students have said that they don't like the idea of being graded every week. So what has worked better is that combined grade that takes into account your required responses to cases. It also takes into account responses to other of your peers, and if you have helped your peers in any way and by responding to the questions. And a few of you have done that, and I'd like to see more of that. I feel that as I go through the analytics for the course, I feel that there is not much of reading of other people's responses. And if it's possible, when a question is posed, take a stab at it. A lot of times I come in and I sort of just look to see how things are progressing. If you're on the wrong path, I tend to guide you back on it, but if not, I just let it develop organically. And at the end of the week, I sort of wrap up and make my comments on the discussions. So far, most people seem to be on board. They and that is very much reflective on the assignment and on the quizzes. Based on also the how this class has evolved over the past 6 weeks, most people tend to come in on Fridays. Most people, it sort of it has a preliminary entry, but you have about 5 of you coming in on Friday. Saturday is the busiest day when it comes to this class, and then it tails out again on Monday. Between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, those are usually downtimes. So most of the activity, it's really on the weekends, and I give room for that activity to play out. And but within that time frame, if you do have a question that you feel you urgently would like to get a response to, please email me, and I would definitely try to respond to that, especially if it's something that is urgent. That in itself lines up with how I grade as well. So as you would notice, that most of the time grades are within within the Saturday or the Sunday. Many times, because I do a week turnaround for grades, and so you submit on Monday, and by Friday I would start looking at your grades, because this is coding, and I want to make sure that you are following the correct example, going through line by line of code. I take my time and I do it over sometimes Friday and Saturday, but usually by Saturday I try to have your grades in. And I know some of you feel anxious about that, but there's no need to be anxious about it. The exercises and the quizzes, there's not really much what's the word I'm looking for? There's not really much overlap or correlation, I should say, between the two. The exercise is a different animal altogether, where you are given sort of like big projects. By the quiz, while being open book, it is it's just to get your sense of understanding the concepts of that week. So just to sort of clarify on when it comes to quizzes and assignments, the differences between the two. One of the key things that I would suggest that you do, though, is you follow the tutorials, because I don't tend to stray very far from the tutorials when it comes to exercises and the quizzes. So they are sort of to really get your feet on the ground and give you that ability to move forward. So I think that's looking at my agenda. That's about what I wanted to cover in this brief talk. Participation, improvement in responses to other students. I'd like to see more of that collaboration, where a question is posed and somebody make an attempt to respond to that question. Again, I would chime in if I think it is incorrect or if it needs elaboration. Groups, you should be in your groups. Make sure that you reach out to your group members as early as possible. We'll be having 3 sort of main group activities. The case for this week, which is the icebreaker. We would also have groups coming together and leading our forum for a week. So more on that as the week goes on, and as to what week you will be responsible for managing the forum, and the final project, which is the other main group activity, which will be consuming a lot of your time as we get to the tail end of the class, and the class schedule, how the class actually is, where the most activity is, and how I, as such, much of my much of the activity in the class and how I respond to the class is very much centered around the end of the week, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday. And then, as I said, there's minimal activity that happens within Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's it for me for today. Questions, let me know. Oh, just to say that I think the subscribe function is not working on Blackboard. Not too sure, but I would suggest that if you would like to keep up with the postings on the discussion board, that's a good way to do it. So it's one of my go-to ways of keeping track of who's saying what on the discussion board. So use the subscribe button. I think it works. I'm not sure, but if it doesn't, well, it doesn't. But Blackboard is in the process of addressing that, and I think the actual fixed date for it is the end of the year. But it has worked in one of my other classes, and I think that so I'm just presuming it will work here. So that's it for this week 7. Good luck with schemas. And just to say that before I wrap up, you would notice in this week's presentation, I'm very much giving you many examples. One of the ways I suggest that you go through this week's talk is to print out the slides and sort of follow along with the examples. The idea being is that I'm not repeating what the book says, but I just want to, the purpose of the lecture, as you see, is just a 15-minute lecture, is really to deliver high points and highlights of where you should be focusing much of your activities. So that's it for this week. Bye for now.